Well, it appears that I have to be very careful what I say on here if I plan on being able to reach you guys and continue to not only talk the talk but walk the walk. I have to be very careful about my videos that I make from now on, obviously, because they keep getting banned, and then I'll reject their claim and they'll turn around and reverse the decision. It went from a 3-day ban to a 7-day ban to now I can post again. So I'm going to have to start coding the things that I say, and I hope that you guys will be able to pick up on it because we've been together long enough. You should be able to do it. I'm not going to make it so extravagant that the average layman won't be able to pick up what I'm saying, but I may start using slang to articulate things to you guys, because I'm being heavily screened at this point by Facebook, and for good reason. Because once you see the truth, ladies and gentlemen, there are only 3 things you can do: blow your brains out, pick up the bag of lies, never be able to look yourself in the mirror again and fall back in line, or stand up and give it everything you got with the grace of the Heavenly Father behind you to do what's right, just, and fair. Not just for yourself, because it isn't about you. And that was an important lesson for me to learn. And Mr. Anonymous is the one that really drove it home to me one day. He goes, you keep boasting about you winning 14 cases. You ain't won shit, Derek. I'm like, man, you're being kind of brutal today. He goes, the American people won today because of you. You didn't win a damn thing. And don't you ever forget, all the glory goes to the Heavenly Father. You didn't win shit. He started making me think differently. And so all that boasting and bragging went to the wayside, because he's right. The American people won because somebody had the tenacity to stand up and say, absolutely not. I'm not going to stand for this, and nor are the American people, and I'm going to fight my ass off for everybody I love and care about, because I will not sit there and watch them be trespassed by these people. So, today, it's kind of an uneventful trip to Lincoln, and I knew I would get the runaround, all right? Look, I'm extraordinarily learned with their cockamamie horse crap, and I want to point out one of these things on here. I'm looking for the anti-bribery statement. I'm looking for the statement of fact that's supposed to be announced to the oath of office. I'm looking for the birth certificate that he may or may not have lodged with his filling the alleged office. But I want to point this out right here. I can tell you right now, this is not a legitimate oath of office to be a judge. You want to know how I know that? Because this is a false and misleading misnomer that is not registered with the Secretary of State as a DBA to do business. Under the Federal National ID Act, this is supposed to be the full legal name. Ladies and gentlemen, this guy does not have an oath of office. It is not a valid oath of office. It might meet statutory requirements, but it does not meet the Constitution's requirements, and it doesn't meet the federal Constitution's requirements, and it is not, in fact, a binding oath. There's a false and fictitious misnomer, okay? Just like Derek S. Gonzalez is a false and fictitious name that is registered to do business. I just haven't showed them that. I own it, not them. So they're trespassing on me by using my intellectual property that I own. They're not aware of that yet, but they're about to find out. Anyway, I was looking for an anti-bribery statement today. You go to the Attorney General's office, and I've emailed them a number of times, and of course, you don't have a direct line to them, and that's to keep them so they always have plausible deniability. The other thing I wanted was, I wanted his oath to the Bar Association today. But guess what, ladies and gentlemen? And I already knew this, but the Bar Association is a private member association, which means the documentation within their organization isn't necessarily public. So guess what? When you ask for their oath to the bar, they go, we're not at liberty to give that to you. It's private. That's a private matter. We don't have to divulge that to you. But hold on, wait a minute. I thought that the administrators and judges, in the interest of justice, are supposed to be a disinterested, non-biased third party set to rule on the matter. But if you're concealing the fact that he has a standing agreement with the Bar Association, and you're hiding it under the guise that you have no obligation to perform and bring it forward, what say you? Is he still working for a foreign principal, operating outside of this country, hell-bent on destroying the American's way of life? I don't think you can prove you're non-biased. Where's your anti-bribery statement? Where's your real oath of office? Okay? So, anyway, I wanted to show you this. And, you just do a little bit of due diligence and go get documents like this. But I already knew it was going to be a bunch of malarkey when I went to get it. They say, judges are elected. No, they're not. They're fucking appointed, ladies and gentlemen. You think you vote for a judge just like you thought you voted this election. Your vote don't matter. Your vote don't count. All that does is get you on their books, showing you to be a volunteer subject serf of their principal, their corporation, which they get the lord over. And you have to follow all their rules because that's how they make revenue. That's how they create credits on account, by watching over you to see what rules you break. And every time you break a rule, it's kind of like my family had a cuss jar in the house for a while. That thing went out the window shortly after it was installed. Probably should have stuck around a little bit longer. I might have been a little smoother in speaking. But Dad was really the one that removed it because sailors in the family, right? You know, that thing would fill up quick in a week. There'd be a couple $100 laying around in that thing. So it's time to veto that one. We nixed that one, got that out the household. We can't be having that. So, anyway, this stuff right here, it's all shit. It's all junk. It's not a real oath. It doesn't stand the test. So you invoke their Article 6 oath, invoke Title 4 101 oath, acknowledge and accept Title 5 3331 oath, and accept and acknowledge their constitutional oath to the state. So, you're going to have a lot of inquiries. This is not going to be smooth. It's not going to be fast. I've already done enough stuff. They should have dismissed this case, and they know it, and I know it. So it's a matter of playing a game now and kind of making it look legitimate. Because 2 felony charges for 63 alleged dollars, which I'll tell you right now, ain't none of them going to be able to tell me what species they speaking about. And everybody else, I don't give a shit how ignorant you are. And you think, oh, Derek, come on. Everybody knows what they're talking about. You're presuming and assuming. And that's where they've got you. Because you've got cognitive dissonance, believing you know something that you have no facts and evidence to support. None. You haven't done the research yourself, and you have not a damn clue what they're actually asking for. But in your ignorance, in your pompous ignorance, you walk out of that courtroom going, I know exactly what they need. I'm gonna go right over to the bank. I'm gonna go get them what they want. And you never ask the question. And you make an offer. And you say, you know what? We'll accept that. You never study the maxims where if you go back with a roll of toilet paper and offer it to them and they go, nah, we're not going to accept that. Well, offering tender payment made and refused liberates the debtor. It's your baby now. Ow! Get you some. You know, if you're going to compel a performance from me, you might want to actually present a true bill due and owing so I can endorse it properly and you can take it to the Treasury and you can get paid. That might be a wise idea. Some of the things that I find absolutely funny about this is I offered these people remedy multiple times. They decided to create controversy otherwise where none existed. And that bag of tricks is going to fall right back on them. And they are going to do their damnedest not to be exposed, to try and railroad me. Because they don't want you, the American people, waking up. I've prevailed way too many times with the help of the good Lord. I have done different things. I have exercised different processes to sit here and be able to tell you today that there are multiple ways of skinning this cat. Many of the people out there that do processes and say, hey, come join my class, I show you a process. They have specialized in that process. They're good at that process and it works. And they found a way to generate some kind of credit on account that keeps them going and they stick with it. But I'm not like that. I'm a man who wants to be extraordinarily well-rounded in all aspects, not just in one specific area. I don't believe in limiting myself by being compartmentalized and just specializing in one thing. That's never how I've been. We're raised different out here in the sticks. You got to learn how to do it all. Skin a cat, catch a fish, skin a deer, chop up your meat, roll it up, package it, make sure it doesn't get freezer burn, store your goods, change tires, alternators, break apart your motors, put them back together. Out here, we're pretty self-reliant. Which brings me to my next point. Last night, I don't know if you guys joined me or not, I removed the video because I knew it would eventually get me blocked. But just to tell you how serious I was about my message last night, I practice exactly what I preach. When I tell you guys get out there and get prepared, I mean it. And I went out there today and got prepared because the things that are coming down the pike, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not prepared, I can assure you it will not be fun. You need to be able to provide substance for your families. If they shut down the trucking like they're doing with the nurses and doctors that don't agree with the narrative, and that's all I'm going to say on it, because if I say too much, they will absolutely shut me down again. I think my voice is a little too important to be quieted at this point. But if they shut down the truckers, if they tell the truckers, if you don't go get the then you can't run down the highway anymore, it takes roughly about 72 hours for absolute chaos to manifest into existence. Because within 72 hours, all the shelves will be empty for about everything you could ever think of. Because people will grab things they don't even need at that point, knowing that they don't know when they'll ever get an opportunity to get it again. And whatever they can get their hands on may be a bargaining chip somewhere down the road with somebody else in the community in order to get eggs, food, milk, water, whatever. So go out there and get you some beans, get you some canned goods, go get you some water. There are documents that are being released. I get a hold of them every once in a great while, telling high-ranking military officials to make sure they've got plenty of provisions at their house. Now, they're not telling the high-ranking military officials to do that for them. They're telling the high-ranking military officials to do it for their families, because when shit kicks off, they won't be home. They'll be called to action. So they're telling some of these people to get prepared, get ready. This is a powder keg about to ignite, and we can't stop it. Somebody lit the fuse. We don't know who. We're not going to pass blame. We're just telling you what's coming down the pike is not going to be good. So go get prepared. Make sure you've made preparations for your family. Make sure they know where safe places to go are. They fully anticipate civil unrest in this country. And not only do they anticipate it, they're making it happen. They're helping it along. They're assisting it. So you start to see the narrative change, right? Not enough people are talking about the old... So now the narrative changes to the boogeyman again, the Taliban or whatever. That's always been funded by the U.S. military, Israel, and all it is a spoof to keep you guys distracted from what's really going on and to keep you from getting prepared. Go get prepared. Go get you some tactical defense tools and get ready, because they're starting to tell people's parents, little offspring's parents, that we'll do whatever the fuck we want to your offspring because they're in our care and custody for 8 hours a day. Just watched a woman have her offspring ripped out of her hands at the hospital. And she said, did my offspring test positive for drugs? No. Did I test positive for drugs? No. And the deputy sheriff reaches over and snatches her daughter out of her hands, rips her out of her hands because she's trying to leave the hospital. She don't want to be around those people. They're dangerous. And under the presumed authority of the hospital administrator, they seize another woman's property that was gifted and granted to her by the Heavenly Father. Who are these people to take the gift from God bestowed upon you to teach you how to be loving and compassionate and caring? Who are these people to rip a gift from God from your hands, from your arms? And under what pretense? In the name of safety? The gun-toting moron clearly put the offspring in danger. The mother was stable, holding the offspring, simply wanting to go home, which she had every right to do. They had run blood toxicology reports, no drugs in the system, can't hammer them that way. You know, the next tactic of a totalitarian system, if we can't make you think the way we want you to think, guess what? We'll give you one of these. You're going to think our way today, and I'll put you up against the wall. I'm going to strangle the shit out of you. I'm going to take your kid from you. I'm going to put your hands behind your back. I'm going to cuff you. I'm going to unlawfully detain you. Then I'm going to incarcerate you under the pretense that you resisted and you impeded my investigation. Investigation as to what? Where was the crime? Who was the injured party? Who called the agents and agency alleging that somehow there was a controversy in the mix? You know, it's funny, you call the cops and you say, hey, you know, I was living here for a while and now they changed the locks on the door and I need my couch and my TV and some of my belongings and my clothes so I can go to work. And you know what they say? They're not going to go in there and grab somebody and stick them up against the wall so you can go get your clothes. You know what they say? Ooh, I'm sorry about that. We'd like to intervene, but that's a civil matter. I'm sorry, we can't help you. But somehow, when an agent and agency, a hospital administrator calls law enforcement and says, hey, there's a woman trying to take a baby out of here. Well, is it the mother? Yeah. Well, what the fuck you calling me for? It's her fucking offspring. What do you want me to come do? You want me to come arrest her? Shit, I should come arrest you for false reporting. Who cares? She's taking her kid home. Is there signs of abuse? Signs of neglect? Is there something that you can report that gives me any standing to do anything? Perhaps create and go to a grand jury and get a federal indictment because a woman is being abusive or something? Do you actually have some evidence to cause me to respond in any way, shape, or form? What are these people doing, taking offspring out of people's hands in the hospital because they won't get a piece of paper? Because they won't name their property right there and then in front of them? What say you? Do I have to name something in front of you guys for it to be legitimate? What's the need for such brute force? It doesn't make any sense. American people are getting tired of it. But nevertheless, I just want to show you this oath of office here in Nebraska. You go to the Secretary of State. But again, it's absolutely worthless because that right there is not a legal man. That is not a legal name. It's a person, all right. It's an unregistered DBA. Also, Judge Kozacek, or Honorable Judge Kozacek, there's no DBA for that either. So, no oath of office. They don't work for the government. 4506A proves that. They're not government. So it's a private court of contract, where they're trying to get you to enter into a contract by manipulating you through language. That's what it is. That's what it boils down to. But anyway, needless to say, I love you guys. Go get prepared. Sorry for being so down. It's just, the shit I went through today is just, it's insane. No anti-bribery statement, no foreign registration certificate, no rescission of signature from the oath to a private principal that's a foreign entity, for-profit, PMA, private member association, that's enforced by the Supreme Court, which says nobody can be a judge in any state unless they've done 5 years of good standing practicing law as a member of the Bar Association. That right there in and of itself is egregious. Not to mention that you ask them, hey, what are you enforcing in this court today? Statutes. Well, that presupposes there's a separation of power. Why might you ask? Well, because the legislator creates legislation, and the judiciary is separate from the legislator. The judiciary does not enforce legislation. The legislator enforces legislation. So what say you? Is there separation of powers? Is there a conflict of interest here yet, folks? Am I starting to show you how this shit really works? The fact remains that they're enforcing statute, which means that they're operating under the executive branch to bolster and enforce the bankruptcy. Period. Where do these people get all their credits on account from? They're insolvent. Their principal's insolvent. Where are they getting all this currency, if you will? Think about it. And with that, I love you guys. Don't forget to go get your provisions. I see some very nasty shit happening over the next 8 months. When they start to force airline pilots and everybody else to go get this jab, and your doctors and your nurses are quitting at a phenomenal rate because they are not putting that shit in their body. Ain't doing it. And they're educated, folks. A hell of a lot more educated than I am. I just know better than to trust man, because the good book tells me never trust a man. Don't trust a man. Don't trust a government that isn't God-fearing. I have never seen one of those in my life. I have never seen a God-fearing government, ever. Not once, in any land, in any part of the world. Hell, I would venture to say that Buddhist monks come close, but they're still not even God-fearing. They rely heavily on sound doctrines and principles and live and let live, and I agree with a lot of their philosophy. But I still wouldn't even let Buddhist monks lord over me. I choose to self-govern, and I hope you do the same. Good luck, and I'll see you soon.